All right. So today on NewbieVeT, got a special guest. We got the champ here, Fernando Bunch.
How you living,
What's going on, champ?
I'm great. How about yourself?
Man, can't call it king, man. I'm glad, you accepted this interview, man, taking out the time. I know you be busy, bro.
No.
So, man, let's get into it, man. So you're originally from
Augusta, from Helston.
From Helston. Okay. So born and raised, or you just moved here?
I moved here, I'd say about third grade, military brat. So like both my parents met in Korea.
Right.
And then, I was born here and then was moving around until about third grade here and just stayed, after my dad retired from Fort Gordon.
Right.
Been here ever since.
Yeah. So how was your experience growing up in Augusta as far as, education, life, stuff like that?
I mean, it was cool, the typical went to Winter Spring for a little bit, then went to Tobacco Road, and where after that, Morgan Road's where I found boxing really, and where it was because my parents always had me in a lot of sports, so we always went from place to place. However, I tried a bunch of different sports, but I never liked it seasons. I hated having to wait the whole year.
Yeah, man, that sucks, man.
Yeah, man.
Especially the sport that you like.
Exactly.
Right.
And then also I wasn't getting bigger. Like I was like about 80 pounds all the way till I was like about 13, 14 years old. So I was like, man, I can't play football in rec no more. These guys huge. And where one of my homies in school was like, he was boxing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I took a hold of it and was like, yo, let me come with you. And been fighting ever since. Yes, sir.
So what got you into the boxing? That what got you into it? Like what made you decide, I wanted to be a boxer? Because you did other sports, right?
Right.
So what made you I want to do boxing as the main priority first?
Well, I would say my father, he started me in Taekwondo, so I already had a martial arts background, and I always loved to fight. And where in boxing is weight classes, and so I was like, why not? Then I knew it wasn't seasons. I knew that you could fight throughout the all year round. And then every other week he was coming back to school with either a busted eye or a busted lip or something, but he had a trophy or a belt or something.
Right.
And so I'm like, man, I want that,
Right.
And once I started, it was just I don't even think I even tried to play any other sports with boxing. Only other sport I did do was once I got in high school, I did cross country, but that was to help with boxing.
Help with your stamina.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, besides that, I think it just really once I got in and was learning and getting better, then being able to compete, it had me sold.
Yeah, so okay. So when you getting into the boxing, your first day of boxing, your first training day, how was that experience for you?
Oh man, I'll never forget. We all cause we actually was training at the Jamestown Recreation Center, so it wasn't even a boxing club. You know what I'm saying? That's a regular rec, and what we usually do have is pick the bags, put the bags up, hang them up ourselves every day. And I remember getting there and just seeing some of the guys I've been going to school with training. And I'm like okay. And then I'm seeing their boxing shoes. I'm like, man, I want some of those. Those look tough.
Right.
First day of training, it was just I ain't gonna say a culture shock, but it was new. Everything was new to me, but it intrigued me. So I was like, oh yeah, I want to come back. You know what I'm saying? I want to prove that I can work just as hard.
Right?
Yeah.
Facts. So what was the toughest thing in training? Your first time, was it hitting the bag? Well, you didn't hit the bag at first, nothing like that, did you?
No.
Okay. When boxing training, what are the first things that you do that they teach you on in boxing first? Is it because you don't hit the bags or nothing first, right?
Not really. You learn your fundamentals. You learn your jab. You learn how to throw your right hand. You learn all the punches and how to throw them correctly. You learn how to as far as your footwork, you learn head movement. Things like that. Basically, the basis.
Yeah.
And where that ain't hard once because it's something you're learning and you learn at a slow pace.
Right.
But the hard part is when you haven't been running. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
when you don't have no type of conditioning, you got to get out there in that sun and run miles and miles, things like that. That's when it's okay, do I really want to do this? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then, of course, once you get past that point and get to sparring, first time ever getting hit and, and not losing your mind,
right.
being able to stay under control and get that hit, get that lick back, but you know what I'm saying, plus more.
Yeah.
I would say those are the tough parts about it. The sport itself is hard.
I would say because boxing is. I took boxing lessons when I was younger.
Yeah.
Boxing lessons, and I had an anger issue back then, so it's like I felt like anger issues be kind of good if you do boxing, if you know how to control it, like you said, because you lose a lot of fights going in there.
You can't fight mad. that's the last thing you want to do.
Right. So, how can someone remain focused because, you know, if you're in the real world, someone walks up and hits you, adrenaline just automatically, right?
You know
what I'm saying? So in boxing, and when it's a sport, it's like your adrenaline already comes on because you cut your adrenaline on and off. Because when the bell ring, do your adrenaline still be pumping, or it declines a little bit?
Well, like, because like I know you probably heard where it's like in boxing they say like it's like 80% mental, right? 85% mental, which is very true. So it's like mentally, I'm just like focused. By the time the bell ring, it's like all right, like it's like lock in mode. Like, you know, I'm 100% focused on my opponent. Like I have a list of things that I'm working on. Like that's what eliminates like a lot of nervousness. Like a lot of kids ask me like, how do you not get nervous, or how, like what do you do when you're nervous? Right. And which literally I just make a list of everything I'm gonna work on in the fight. So then when that nervousness come, I'm automatically thinking about, yep, I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna be doing that. I'm gonna make sure I watch for this so I can catch him with this. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Yeah. And where then at the same time, like how I can say, cause like what anger really is, you know what I'm saying? Like ultimately, is it anger because of like some fear something happened or something that did happen and you don't know what's gonna happen next? You know, where when you mentally locked in, you ain't even really got time to get angry. Right. You know, if anything, you may be like, dang, okay, that didn't work, but I got this next. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to work on this then. Okay, you did that, all right. Because I already done got, you know what I'm saying, a list of data that I already done took down. So I say that kind of calms down nerves, definitely calms down, well, I would say like adrenaline. Like, for example, one thing my coach always told me, like he told me this when we was in Mexico. He was just like, if you don't relax, you're a dead man. And like that was one of the things that stuck with me because it's like there I was already fighting against a different elevation. You know what I'm saying? So in Mexico, the elevation is a whole lot higher than here. So you can't go out there and just going all out as if you would at home because you know the air intake is totally different. So then that on top, then you fighting period, you know what I'm saying? You fight, right. In a whole nother area that you never been in, you know, fighting in their home backyard. And where it's like, okay, just like he said, if you not relaxed and fight smart, is OB. Yeah. And when you telling a fighter that and they in an area they ain't never been in, you know, they goes into that fight or flight. You know what I'm saying? What you gonna do? You gonna fight, you gonna handle business, or you gonna, you know, cower it off or something. Right. So Right. Things like that definitely kind of get you away from that so much of adrenaline taking over. Right. Yeah. Okay. So those same techniques kind of the same way in sports and UFC, different things like that. Life as well. Just life in general. Yeah, life in general. You don't move how I say. I always try to act upon cognition, not impulse. Same thing in life. You act off of impulse too much. Right. How many people you see that's locked up now and lost their life? You know, be gone for the rest of their life for acting off of impulse, something that took 15 seconds. Yeah, to think about. So when I look at that, it's the same way in boxing. Right. If I move off of impulse, I might run into something. Right. Fact. So dealing with boxing and stuff like that, also dealing with nutrition. Meaning you can't eat certain foods and things like that. Like, what are some foods you had to stop that was your favorite? Oh man, like I love gummies. Like I love gummies. Like I love candy. You know what I'm saying? So of course, all the sugar, you know, I got to take down on that. And then like one big, I love pizza. Like anything like with a lot of bread in it, got to take down on that. Right. You know, because it swells you up. Yeah. And then you know, bread turns to sugar too. Right. You know what I'm saying? Then really sodium. Like I love like Low Country Boys. You know what I'm saying? But you know, they got a load of sodium in it with all the seasoning. Right. So it's like, I can probably sneak a couple oysters or something, but it can't be too much because it's all it's gonna do is hold on everything as far as within me. So like that happens, and gotta eat like a lot of fruits, which is good, but after a while you kind of get used to it. Any habit, you know, anything that you do a lot and make it a habit, it becomes easier. Right. And so it's kind of the same way. Like once I kind of got the diet on point for about a week, straight 2 weeks, it'd be pretty easy. Right. So you've been doing boxing for over 20 years. Yeah. Right. So
if someone's trying to get into boxing now, is it a lot easier than it was back then? Because back then you had to go through so many channels in order before you can even touch the ring, compared to now, like, you got your J.Pauls and other people that just come straight from YouTube to the ring. So do you feel like it's a lot easier now to get into boxing more than it was back then, or it's kind of the same?
Well, yeah. Well, one thing that J.Paul did, which is like very interesting, is where first he had the name. He got the name first, then built the skills. Yeah. Where, fighters and us, we have to build the skills and build that.
You get your name off your skills.
Then get the name. So that's one very interesting thing about him. Where I can't hate him at all because this man just fought maybe 4 or 5 times. He already made close to $4 million, even more than that.
More than that. I think he made more. Did J.Paul fight Mayweather? Was that J.Paul?
Yeah, it was his brother.
His brother.
But like both of them, they done made so much money where it's like you can't do nothing but respect it. So like when I look at it on that perspective, it's like, yeah, that's genius. Yeah. However, like when you coming from, say, like as far as someone that I relate to, you know what I'm saying, where we don't have that as far as having the name automatically, it ain't easy. It ain't easy at all. It's just a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work. You got to start from the base. Go find your local gym and go in there every day. Work every day. Learn from everybody. Be a sponge, really. Right. Then once you get to the point where it's time to start competing, like in amateur fights, try to fight as much as you can. Get as much experience as you can. Try to win as much tournaments that you possibly can. You know what I'm saying? And where then from that point, they just took the Olympics they took boxing out of the Olympics. So it ain't no more looking forward to going to that. Right. So then it's like, okay, then you looking to going professional, So how I could say, like, I wouldn't say it's easier now because, you know what I'm saying, it was just as hard for me, which, and I'm pretty sure years before me, it was probably even harder. Right. But I say it's more options. And that's why we see other fighters that be straight from YouTube now. Getting in there. They haven't been as successful as J.Paul. Right. But they kind of trying to duplicate the same thing, so.
Yeah. I see a lot because there's a lot of companies that's trying to do something outside of the bigger corporations. Like you got the NBA, but then you got the big three and other basketball things are starting. Same thing with boxing. Same thing with UFC, MAU, all those. So it's like, what was it? MAU? What's it called? MAU? What's the UFC, the stream fighting one?
Stream fighting. Oh, that's the
MMA. All that stuff. So. You have all that going on. So your first fight, your first fight ever. Yeah. Your countdown where you 17. How many knockouts you got?
No, my first professional fight. 13-0 with 6 knockouts.
13. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's crazy. Yes, sir. So your first fight ever, man. Like, put us in your mindset. Preparing for your first fight ever. Like after all the training and the whole nine. Now this is your first official fight.
Yeah. Oh man, that was January 30th, 2016. Where it was in North Carolina, and it was like a lot of like jitters, a lot of nervousness, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, anxious, right? Because this is what you've been training for. This is what I've been training for all my life. So
how long you training for your first fight?
See, I had already, I had already been training, right? But I had picked up a manager in November. Oh, so okay. Like in November, we started working together, and then he was like, I can get you a professional fight in January.
All right, so not cutting you off. So all right, so same thing. All right, so what I'm hearing is like boxing is the same as anything as far as if you a athlete, cause that's what boxing is, an athlete.
Any type of entertainment.
Same thing. So you getting a manager. So what is so a boxing manager job is to get you fights, right?
Correct.
Or is it big fights or just fights in general?
Well, from that beginning is really get me professional fights, get me paid, you know what I'm saying, and then being able to, produce my career, just like how the entertainment business be. Right. You know what I'm saying? Where you got these groups and where they building up, they getting these opportunities, and then once they get big, they're like, well, all my money go. Right. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, oh, you remember all this had to get paid for this type of stuff too as well. Right. So it's kind of the same way.
Right. Okay.
It's like kind of the same exact way.
Okay. Okay. So what was your mind state the first time you got into that ring?
Oh man, the same. Like, well, because I always each fight I always like look across the ring and just be like, you know, have you worked this hard? Have you went through what I went through preparing for this fight? Or are you willing to go through as much as what I'm willing to go through? And which, you know, I don't see that answer being yes. So, you know, so like automatically to me, it's just like, I worked for this, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And where like with the first fight, it was just new. Like, you know, you fighting without a headgear, you fighting with smaller gloves, and where like.
How much cushions are in the gloves?
My gloves are 8 ounces.
Okay.
Yeah, so like they little, they itty bitty, like. It hurt just as much.
So you feel the knuckles?
Oh yeah, you definitely feel the knuckles. Like my knuckles swole now from last week.
Yeah,
so
last
like,
week. Yeah.
It's just but somehow we still love it.
Yeah.
So then like possible thing like an amateur, you know, if you get headbutt, you both got headgears, right? However, like this for last fight, I got my first cut in a fight because of a headbutt. You know what I'm saying? And where then I got a fight, I had to finish the fight with blood in my eye.
Blood in your eye.
So it's
man.
like, you know, it's like just new experiences, but we've been watching this on TV for years. So it's like, oh, now that's how that really feels. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's why we, you know, when you watch it on TV, you see that, or you participating, or you actually see it in real life, you're like, man, well, so this really does happen.
Yeah, like seriously, like even in the fight, like I was kind of more excited. Like I was like, oh snap, like I'm a real fighter for real now. Like I'm over here trying to get this blood out of my eye and fighting at the same time. Like, it was different, but you know, I love this sport. I truly do. So it's like, you know, you got to take the good with the bad.
Right. So what was your most, what was out of the 13 fights, what was the most challenging one that you could remember?
The most challenging, I would say,
challenging fighter that you had.
The most challenging fight, I would say, I fought this guy here in Augusta, actually. It was here in Augusta about 2 years ago. I actually had just had my tonsils taken out. I had caught strep throat for my daughter, and then it got bad. And so like the doctors didn't even approve for me to fight.
But you couldn't even swallow nothing?
I couldn't swallow. Oh my Lord, it was horrible. Like I lost so much weight, you know what I'm saying? Not even from training, just from not eating
and drinking.
You know, so that took a lot out of me. And then I ended up fighting a guy that was like pretty bigger than me. So like he was tough. He was real tough. And I ended up knocking him out, I think like either in the 3rd or 4th round. But it was tough, like cause I had, my body was already different.
Right.
You know, so I had to like kind of
adjust to it.
Adjust and adapt and just be able to find a way. You know, so I had to, and I found it. And made it happen and got him up out of there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could say that probably was the most
challenging one.
Yeah, most challenging.
Yeah. That cause you wasn't, like you say, you had the sickness. And
it was a big difference. Like, I ain't gonna do this no more.
Right.
Like, what the doctor say you sit down somewhere, you sit down.
Right.
Yeah.
So after the fights, after the bell is ringing, they announced the winner, you know, use stuff like that. It's the healing process now.
Definitely.
So you know, so what was your biggest, like, what was the worst scar or wound that you suffer in a fight?
Let's see. So my last fight, not this last fight right here, because my last fight I just fought was actually my first fight back. But last year, it's crazy because I actually had the surgery a day yesterday last year, and so what I ended up tearing my labrum in my right shoulder, and in the middle of the fight. And so I ended up having to finish the fight with one hand. And, we won. I won that fight, and went to the doctor, like, cause my coach, he was just like, don't come back to camp until you get your shoulder checked out, cause something ain't right. So when I went and got an MRI done, they was like, oh yeah, like if you want to box again, you got to have the surgery. And so I'm like, oh well, let's get it ASAP. You know?
Let's get this ASAP.
Yeah, and then it was like, we don't even know if you're still gonna be able to fight, you know, and things like that.
Oh, they were saying it like that?
Yeah, like it scared me. Like I was devastated, you know what I'm saying? And where I got the surgery, July, what's today, the 26th or the 25th? Today the 26th?
Yeah, day's 27th.
So,
Day 27th.
27th, so yesterday was the 26th. So I got the surgery last year on the 26th of July. And I had to sit down, man. It sucked. Like,
I know it sucked, man.
Man, I had to wear the little cast thing. I had to keep that on for about
how long you was out?
Yeah, I didn't even be able to throw a punch until like December. But like, you know, I went through physical therapy. I went through everything, like, cause I didn't want to rush it, cause I didn't want to inflict it,
mess anything up.
Yeah, do it all over again. So I really took my time. Had to sleep with the cast on for like 3 months straight. had to sleep in I still got it too, and it's like a recliner because I couldn't get in my bed.
Yeah.
So it was horrible, man.
Oh,
but
man.
I'm just so grateful because
you got out of you bounced back from that,
I didn't
man.
fall twice since, you know, some of the biggest wins of my career. So
yeah, man. So, man, another win, man. You met Roy Jones.
Yeah,
you know Roy Jones.
Yeah, that's my coach.
So how you wind up linking up and having Roy Jones as a coach?
Man, nothing but God, man. Like it just, I was trying to figure out. I was 8-0 at the time. I'm trying to figure out what I was going to do with my career as far as like you know, as the fights go on, like it's more money involved. You know, so at that point I was like, I need a not only more money involved, but the fights are harder. You know what I'm saying? Like you're fighting real dogs. So you know, I knew that at that point I didn't even have a coach. I was just 8-0, just making stuff shake. You know, as far as with my manager, where I'm like, okay, we're moving to another level. I'm not about to become like an opponent. Like what should I do? And so I was just, you know, just selling myself, like as far as like, yo, y'all need some sparring, or y'all need, like I was just calling around in Atlanta, and one of my old coaches was like, yeah, you know, you come up here, stay for the weekend. I got, you can spar with us. We're preparing to fight on ESPN. So I was like, solid. So I get up there, I meet one of my guys named James Crunch Time Wilson, in which he's signed with Top Rank. He also been signed with Golden Boy as well. He was training with Roy at the time. And like him, we had good sparring work, and he was just like, man, I would love for you to come down, you know, and train with us.
Right.
So I was like, absolutely, you know. So a month later, I had my daughter, and I went down there and worked out. Roy liked what he saw. He had me spar one of his guys, and he was just like, don't take any other fights. Like, I'm gonna get you your next fight. And like 6 months later, he got me a manager, and like we've been working.
Ever since then. So you been on the so that'll make 5 fights that you had under Roy.
Right. Well, yeah, because I'm 13-0, but on paper I'm really in real life I'm actually 14-0.
14-0. Okay.
Right. So it's really been about 6 fights.
6 fights. Okay.
My first fight with Roy was actually in Mexico. But they never did update it on my record because some BS. So
yeah. So the record, the tally, the score, and all that, the Boxing Association keeps your score record.
Right. Yeah. Like online. So like it says I'm 13-0, but I'm really 14-0.
Okay. Didn't know that. Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
I called the commission like a bunch of times, like, yo, I need that, but
yeah, because them things matter.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely matter.
Or when like the matter is, like so. All right, so question. All right, so when it comes to rankings in boxing, do the record of undefeated. I know undefeated looks good, but say like if you got 3 losses, but you got like 26 wins, that's still a win?
Oh, I mean, no, you're still, if you got 26 wins and 3 losses, I mean, that's not a bad record at all, but it all, like the ranking all goes by who you fought, who you beat, who you lost to.
Oh, gotcha.
Because, you know, your rank can even go up higher than some folks if one of those losses was against Manny Pacquiao or something. You know, like, or
you'll go up more,
yeah, you'll go up more because of the opposition of what you're fighting, you know, and the competition, of course.
Gotcha.
So, and then you got people that's 20-0, but ain't fought nobody.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
And so then their rank is super low, but you're like, I thought you was 20-0. Yeah, but I've been fighting a bunch of people that's not even nowhere.
So they just getting their numbers up.
Right. Yeah. And then that's why I was like in my career, like I always step it up, so then I can continue to have a progression in the ranks.
Right. Facts, man. So, man, what is your goal with the boxing? Like when it's all said and done, and after you hang the gloves up, like what are some things you are aiming to accomplish in your boxing career?
Oh man, like cause this is what I love. So it's like I always want to have something and be involved in boxing. So of course I want to be a multiple time world champion. You know, in multiple divisions if possible. Cause I'm already a big guy. As far as in my weight and the weights I can go to. So, of course, I want to do that. I want to make it where, like, after I leave the ring and I'm fighting on TV, that I stay on TV. And, like, even where I'm not fighting, I'm commentating. Like, you know, like how my coach was doing. Like he really, like, lived the life that I work hard to get to. Where, you know, I can have, like, a big old spot of property. You know, have my own gym there, have, you know, everything I love there, you know, for my kids. Yeah. You know, then just like leaving a legacy, you know, doing a little something different, especially like for the city, you know, where, you know, we had a lot of big time and successful boxers come out of Augusta.
Yeah.
And where, you know, I just differentiate myself, but like in a positive nature.
Okay. Yeah, most definitely. So man, all right. So man, before we slide, man, shout out Bobby Bands too, man.
No doubt.
Yeah, this is my boy, man. I gotta give my boy a shout out, man.
Oh yeah.
So how it has been? How you wound up linking with Bobby?
Oh man, it's been a while. Like matter of fact, I think it was that fight where I had that surgery. Like he had like had a shirt already made for me. It was saying, I think it said 10-0 or 9-0, one of those. And I was just like, wow, like cool. And then like he just like asked me if I would like what size I wore and like tracksuits and would I mind like, you know, promoting his gear and like rocking it to fights.
Certified CEO.
Yes, sir. So I was just like, absolutely. And then after a while, I'd be like, this the colors of my uniform, and can you get something that go with it? He'd be like, boom, he'll make it, and
he made it. Yeah.
Man, it'd be perfect. And then like the quality of it is great, especially when it's cold and I'm always traveling. So, man, I took flights in a CEO sweatsuit and then went hiking. Yeah, with it on, like you can do everything in them suits.
Yeah, man, this is some good material, man. He spent a lot of money, man. A lot of people don't understand. Like when you're doing fashion, it's all about the material.
Yeah.
So yeah, he spent a lot of money trying to get his material right. You know what I'm saying? So
I believe that quality is nice.
Oh yeah, it is, man.
No doubt.
So man, all right, before we slide off on NewbieVeT, man, how can they get in contact with you for bookings or anything? And also, is there any love you'd like to shout out?
Oh yeah, definitely. I should have my list, but no, I definitely want to give a shout out to all my sponsors. Like I'm extremely grateful for all of them, because if it wasn't for them, it would be like extremely hard for me to be able to continue to progress in my career, because everything costs money.
Oh yeah,
and we in inflation right now. So I got a list of them, and which also I always got to promote. You know, the home team, K Rucker Productions. That's Chris Rucker. You know, as well as Daniel Sapp. Like they the ones that promote the fights as far as in Augusta that we've been fighting with. So they always put on an amazing event. I got a Murphy Auto Group. That's one of my big time sponsors that's been there for me, that I'm extremely grateful for. Vincent Willis, that's Arch Collective Tattoos. We got Car Collectors, which is Joey Huber. We got J. Renee Experience, that's for all like your catering needs. We got Loving Augusta Lawn Care, that's my man Al Kane. He not only as far as for residential, but commercial as well. Okay. We got Marley Box, you know, so that's for like all the smokers and everything.
Yeah, shout out Marley Box, man.
Oh yeah, big time. He been there for me for years. We got AUG, All Us Grinding. They definitely been looking out. Appreciate them big time. Who else we got, man? It's so many. It's like
See, yeah. So, you know, Craig, he hit me up with some new names. I thought I knew a lot of people in the city. I guess not.
Oh man, they out here, man. Like definitely, like, and everybody's like doing their thing as far as like in different routes. Like, I don't know if you know Ronte Williams. He's Ron Will Clothing. He's actually from Augusta, but he's out of Atlanta. But man, I always like try to rock his stuff as well, either after the fight or before the fights. Man, like. I said Vincent. So it's a good bit of people, which I'm extremely grateful for, especially as far as for any like bookings, sponsorships, just even want to like just being coincide as far as with my life and my career. You got Nando El Terrible on Instagram. That's NANDOEL, then Terrible, TERRIBLE. Also on Facebook, Fernando Bunch. That's my name, Fernando El Terrible Bunch. That's my fan page name. And where, everything's spelled correctly. And, I'm just trying to continue to produce, progress, get better and better.